Welcome to Math 101. Our topic is all about linear programming using Simplex method. Next slide, please. This is our problem. The Crown's Furniture Company released a new design sofa set. Basic set consists of 2 pieces, single-seater chair, and one three-seater sofa. The regular set consists of 2 pieces, single-seater chair, one three-seater sofa, and one center table. The complete set consists of 4 pieces, single-seater chair, one three-seater sofa, and one center table. The profit is 13,000 on a basic set, 14,000 on a regular set, and 15,000 on a complete set. The factory has on hand 200 single-seater chair, 103 seater sofa, and 50 center table. Assuming that all sets will be sold, how many of each type should be made up in order to maximize profit? What is the maximum profit?
Step 1. Represent the unknown in the problem. We're going to first identify the variables which we're going to let x equals to basic set, y equals to regular set, z equals to complete set. Step 2. Tabulate the data about facts. The first column, profit, single-seater chair, three-seater sofa, and a center table. Second column, basic set or x, 13,000 pesos, 2, 1, 0. The third column, regular set or y, 14,000 pesos, 2, 1, and 1. And the third column, complete set or Z, 15,000 pesos, 4, 1, and 1. For the last column, availability, profit is 0, for which we will compute for the maximized profit. Next is 200, 100, and 50. Next slide, please. Step 3, formulate the objective function and constraint. After we tabulate the data, we will make the equation. Objective function, this is maximization since we need to maximize the profit. So P is equals to 13,000x plus 14,000y plus 15,000z. As for the subject of constraint, which is 2x, which is x is the basic set, 2y, which is regular set, and 4z, which is the complete set. The same will happen to the other constraint. And lastly, for our non-negative constraint, which is x, y, and z is greater or equal than 0 to avoid negative values. Step 4. Convert to a system of a linear equation in standard form. We're going to have our new function and constraint in a standard form from our linear equation, which will be look like this. We have the three constraint with our single-seater chair, three-seater sofa, and a center table. So meaning we will have a three slack variable. For each constraint, they will have a specific slack variable. For single-seater chair is S1, and the three-seater sofa is S2, and for the center table is S3. And for the maximization or profit, they have no value or 0 for slack variables. And our artificial is P. For the non-negative constraint, we will also include the slack variable which is greater or equal to 0.
Step 5. Set up the initial table. Our new objective function is negative 13,000x minus 14,000y minus 15,000z, and our new constraint is subject to 2x plus 2y plus 4z plus s1 is equal to 200, and x plus y plus z plus s2 is equal to 100. So y plus z plus s3 is equal to 50, and our non-negative constraints. So to tabulate our initial table, so s1, x is 2, y is 2, z is 4, s1 is 1, s2 is 0, s3 is 0, and our RHS is 200. For the s2, x is 1, y is 1, z is 1, s1 is 0, s2 is 1, s3 is 0, and our RHS is 100. Next is s3. X is 0, y is 1, z is 1, s1 is 0, s2 is 0, s3 is 1, and our RHS is 50. Lastly, the P is x is equals to negative 13,000, y is equals to negative 14,000, z is equals to negative 15,000, and the s1, s2, s3, and RHS is 0.
Now let's proceed to step 6. So for step 6, we will select the pivot column. So to find the pivot column, we will be looking for the lowest number. So in this case, we will be looking at only variable x, y, and z. So as you can see, we have negative 15, which is under the variable z, which has the lowest value. So for that, we will have z as our pivot column. And step 7, we will select now the pivot row. So to select the pivot row, we need to have a temporary table. So we need to have an exchange ratio. So to get the exchange ratio, it is equivalent to the RHS, or the right-hand side, divided by the z, which is our pivot column. So we have the 200 divided by 4 equals 50, 100 divided by 1 equals 100, 50 divided by 1 equals 50, and 0 divided by negative 15,000 is equals to 0. So in here, we will be selecting the ER of the lowest value. So in this case, we have an equal amount. So we will not be selecting 0 for our ER. Actually, we can choose either of the two. The outcome is still the same. So, but for this part here, I will be selecting the first row. So we have now our S1 for our pivot row.
Step 8 is identify the pivot element and compute the value. So the pivot element is a cross-section between the pivot column and pivot row. So we should identify the pivot element. The pivot element is 4 and identify the entering variable, which is the z, and identify the existing variable. So the existing variable is the S1. Okay, this is the following equation. So 1/4 times R1, R2 minus 1, R new 1, R3 minus 1, R new 1, R4 plus 15,000, R new 1. This is the solution. The formula is 1/4 times R1. So we should find the pivot element first. So 4 times 1/4, the answer is 1. So the next value is 2. So 1/4 times 2, the answer is 0.5. 2 times 1/4, 0.5. 1 times 1/4, 0.25. 0 times 1/4, 0. 1/4 times 0, 0. 1/4 times 250. So the next element is S2. So the formula is R2 minus 1, R new 1. So to get the answer, we should compute. So the R2 in the first element is 1, so minus 1 and times 0.5 and so on and so forth. The next part of the table, formula or the solution is the same process lang. Imo lang gud siya i-substitute there is a mga formula. So R3 minus 1, R new 1, so imo lang i-substitute 0 minus 1 times 0.5, so on and so forth. So there is a R4 plus 50,000, R new 1, so same lang na siya process guys.
Step 9, we will compute the new values repeating steps 5 to 8. So we will go through the same steps from 5 to 8. So we already have the initial table there. So let's move on to repeating step 6. So for step 6, we have to select the pivot column. And again, we have to base the selection on the smallest p, which we have here, negative 6,500. Step 7, select the pivot row. And this will be based on the exchange ratio. So we can see there that the values are 100, 100, and 0, and we don't select the 0 as our option. We have the S2 or the second row. Then for step 8, identify the pivot element and compute the values. So the pivot element there is the 0.5. And then the entering variable is going to be the y, and our exiting variable is the S2. So here are the formulas that we will use for each rows. For row 1, that's R1 minus 0.5 times the new row 2. R2 divided by 0.5, R3 minus 0.5 times the new row 2. And then for R4, that's plus 6,500 since the value there is negative. So to eliminate the negative 6,500, we will add the 6,500 times the new row 2. So here are the solutions. For this row, we just have to divide the value in the row 2 divided by 0.5. So 0.5 divided by 0.5 is equal to 1. And then the 0.5 divided by 0.5 is equal to 1. And we have 0 divided by 0.5 is equals to 0. Negative 0.25 divided by 0.5 is negative 0.5. And then 1 divided by 0.5 is equals to 2. 0 divided by 0.5 is 0. And then the 500 divided by 0.5 is 100. All right, and for this row, this is the row 1, which is our formula is R1 minus 0.5 times the new row 2. So here are the computations. So for the first one, 0.5 minus 0.5 times 1, which is equals to 0. And then the second, 0.5 minus 0.5 times 1 equals 0. And then 1 minus 0.5 times 0 is equals to 1. 0.25 minus 0.5 times negative 0.5 is equals to 0.5. And then 0 minus 0.5 times 2 is equals to negative 1. And then 0 minus 0.5 times 0 is equals to 0. And then 50 minus 0.5 times 100, we have 0. And then the following rows, they all have, we go through the same process. So, dili na nato i-go through ang tanan. We already have our two variables, and we have the last one, which is the x. So we have to go through again step 5 to 8 to find the last variable. So for repeating step 6, selecting the pivot column, which we have the x column. And for the step 7, we have to select the pivot row, which we have the last one, the S3. And then for step 8, we have to go through again identifying the pivot element and compute the values. So our pivot element is a negative 1, the entering variable. The new entering variable is the x, and the new exiting variable is the S3. And then we have to go through all the process again for computing the new variables. And then we have to make the negative 1, the pivot element, into 1, and then the other values, we have to make it into 0.
So we are now in step 10, which is the decision making. We have here the table of the final answer. We have that variable x has the value of 0, and the variable y have the value of 100. And the final answer for that question problem is the 1,400,000 for the profit maximization.
So in conclusion, the company can earn a profit of 1,400,000 pesos if they sell 100 regular set and 0 basic set and complete set. So that would be all. Thank you.